Hey ladies, today is all about the stories we tell ourselves. Our reality is based on these stories. These are our truths. So, what are your stories? Are they negative? These negative stories we tell ourselves typically come from our experiences from the past, whether that is from way long ago in our childhood or even more recent experiences. And they can be so woven into who we are that it can be so difficult to identify them and very, very difficult to shift those stories and not to buy into them anymore. Because we allow them to have such a hold over us, it can take a lot of time to alter them, but the first step is really identifying what are those stories? What are our stories? And then telling our stories. Once you tell your story, it loses that power over you. And the more and more you tell it, the more and more power it loses. Some examples of my negative stories include I am unworthy of unconditional love. All relationships are doomed. I can't trust anyone, and everyone will eventually leave me. So these are stories I've identified that I've struggled with in the past, and they're really deep-seated. So I finally realized that I was creating my own reality and that these beliefs about relationships were causing me to attract those very exact experiences. So I would choose to partake in relationships that would typically end up feeding into my negative stories. So I would and I would create them. I would push and push and push someone. I wouldn't trust them. I would never believe they truly love me. And so, of course, they would eventually get tired of that cycle and leave, which in turn would fuel my story of I'm not worthy, all relationships are doomed, I can't trust anybody, and everyone will eventually leave. So I would get to say, see, they left, they didn't love me, yada, yada, yada. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was giving these negative stories so much power, and I was actually acting on them and playing into them. The very experiences that we fear will keep repeating themselves if we continue to focus on them and give them that power. So we've got to become aware and first change ourselves if we want our reality to change. Now that I've kind of worked through those things, I've been able to replace those negative stories with more positive thought patterns. So a few questions that you can ask yourself on the sheet here, that you can ask yourself to get really to the root of those negative beliefs are going to be, what are the negative stories that you've been telling about yourself? Is there an area in your life where you seem to struggle that can kind of like lead you to where your negative stories are surrounding, what they're surrounding? What do those negative beliefs stem from? So where are they coming from? So first we've got, what are they? Where are they coming from? What has happened in your past? Did somebody in a position of authority say something or do something that you're still holding on to? The third thing is, why are you holding on to those negative beliefs? What are you getting out of it? What are you getting out of it? Is it some sort of sense of security? What's coming of it? Number 4 is, what does your future look like if you don't let go of those beliefs? So I want you to close your eyes and imagine, close them right now. Imagine, what does your future look like if you don't let go of these negative beliefs? Notice the same patterns you're still engaging in. Notice the self-sabotage you'll continue to create. And notice all of the amazing things that you're shutting yourself off from just by holding on to these beliefs. Now, let's take a shift. Number 5, what does your future look like if you let go of these negative beliefs? Close your eyes again. Imagine a future where you've let go of these negative stories. Imagine the freedom that you would create for yourself. Notice the goals you'd reach and notice the relationships you'd build. Just sit with that for a minute. The relationships that you've built, the goals you would reach, everything that you've dreamed of can finally start manifesting. It can have that space to do that. Answer these questions. Spend some time with them. Sit with them. And share if you can. I know it's hard, but I never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do. I always share with you guys, and it's very vulnerable. But I really want to push you to do the same. Be free, lighten the load, lead with love, and let your soul shine. It's buried under all this junk, all this stuff. And we've got to scorch it, work through it, move through it in order to truly become our authentic selves. So good luck. I know this is a tough one this week, but I know you can do it. You can do it. All right. Bye, guys.